everybody. Tom here. You're watching Joy en Route. Thanks for joining me on the channel here today. I'm at Lake Livingston State Park in Texas. It's a little northeast of Houston. And we, as you may recall from the last episode, just came through the Texas Great Winter Extravaganza, whatever. And it hasn't really gotten much warmer. I mean, it's 60 degrees today, so I've got on a jacket, regular long pants. I'm not doing the shorts thing or anything, but been disappointing weather. Rain quite a bit too. If I swing around here, you can see that some of the area here is looking pretty swampy. And but I got a nice parking slab to sit on, so that's nice. And the standard amenities: electric. There's a water spigot over here. The water did not smell particularly good to me, so I'm making the decision not to use it. And my internet is absolute trash today. This week, I put up for a 7-day stay here, and it's been rough. It's Tuesday, and I'm out on Thursday, so I've still got another day. I mean, it's like first world problems, right? My internet sucks. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. I have been reading a little bit more than usual, and that's always kind of a nice thing, to just kick back with a book, right? When it's cold and it's raining and it's kind of crappy. But I also have a lot of other things to do, like my year-end accounting and preparing for taxes and things like that. Plus, doing videos for you guys, so there's all of that. Yeah, internet has let me down here. And looking at the review of this park, it showed that I should have, a perfectly fine T-Mobile signal. So I don't know whether there's problems on the towers or if it's just extraordinarily congested. And that's the problem. Because I'm kind of on the edge between 3 and 4 bars of signal, and usually when I got that much, it's perfectly fine, but I've got no bandwidth at all. So I'm getting, like, very often it's less than 3 meg down. Can you believe that? Less than 3. That is just horrid. To stream 1080p, you need at least 5, if not 6 down. So that's really bad, and the up speed has been, maybe 0.2 up, 0.2 meg up. It's damn near unusable. Anyway, I'm the funny thing is that I look at, or the tragic thing, I'm not sure, is I look at the review for this park. And like I say, it shows that I should have absolutely no problem with internet. And I look at the next park that I'm going to, and I see that it has, it shows a marginal internet quality there. So it's on, the next park is on Lake Somerville, or Somerville Lake, however they say it. So I guess we'll just have to see what I get there. If it's going to be another week that's abysmally bad for the internet, that's going to be rough. Anyway, moving on. I got a question in the comments to a recent video about whether or not I would still buy Joy today. So I'm going to interpret that question to mean, knowing what I know now, would I still buy Joy? And that may be a slightly different question than would I buy an Embassie Dolphin SS RV on a Ford chassis today, knowing nothing. So let's go back to the first question, and that is, knowing what I know now, would I still buy an Embassie Dolphin SS? And the answer to that question is an absolute and resounding yes. I totally would. I have been very, very happy with my Embassie Dolphin SS. Primarily, I think it boils down to the design ethos that goes into building Embassie RVs. So let me just go back to the whole base philosophy behind how Embassie builds RVs. First of all, there's no wood in an Embassie RV. Why? Well, I mean, the interior of a vehicle, especially if you're kind of like living in it and doing things like cooking or making coffee or sleeping or whatever, and given the variations in temperature on the outside, you are subjecting the interior of that vehicle to a lot of changes in humidity. And so there's going to be condensation on the windows that's going to be very visible, and it's going to kind of, make you realize that that there's an issue with moisture in the vehicle. And if you are I'm sorry, I got to stop and look at this map. I know where I'm going, but there's a number of different turnoffs along the way here that I want to make sure that I don't go down where I don't want to go. So I went there and I went there. There's an activity center where? That's probably that down there. Okay, no, I don't want that one. Well, I went down there. Okay. Keep going this way and around till it kind of three-way splits and then goes that way. Okay, because what I'm looking for is there's apparently an overlook tower. So we'll go up and we'll check out what it looks like at the overlook tower. Kind of dismal and gray looking on the walk here, but I guess it is what it is. But there's Lake Livingston out there, so maybe the tower will give us an interesting look at that. We'll see. So yeah, so humidity is an issue, and humidity, of course, is just a fancy way of saying it's going to get wet inside. And wood, being organic, wants to absorb moisture. And unfortunately, that can lead to mold or decay, or both, probably both, right? So things made of wood in a van tend to get loose and soft and moldy over time. I can't tell you how many nomads with YouTube channels that I've seen talk about or show the the rot that has occurred in their vehicle. So I don't have that as an issue. Now, mind you, water on steel is a different matter, right? That's called rust. So it's not like there's a trail down there, and I'm thinking I'd really love to get off on a trail, but then I'm looking at the entryway there, and it's kind of sloppy, muddy. There's a nice boat ramp right there too. I think there was another one over there. I think the tower is like right around here. Anyway, we'll just keep going on the road. So where was I? Oh, rust. Yeah, so there can be rust, right? So you do have to be mindful of that. You don't want wood to be the only concern, or you don't want water to not be a concern, right? That said, most of the surfaces in the vehicle are primered and coated with either the same paint used exteriorly or in some other way. And so another design ethos of Embassie is to use as few screws as is necessary to screw into the frame of the vehicle itself. So they're really trying to minimize the impact on the vehicle with what they're doing inside of it. And the other thing that I know about Embassie is that while it existed, Embassie worked very closely with the Ford QVC program. Now, what QVC stands for, I don't know. Quality Vendor Control. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. But what it really represented was Embassie's mindfulness that what they're doing can impact the systems and the safety of the vehicle. So they worked very closely with Ford, and Ford was delighted with what Embassie was doing with their transit vans. And so it was a really good relationship. Point is that they were being very careful to work within the bounds that Ford had established for doing pretty significant modifications to the vehicle. And in fact, the vehicle's not actually modded hardly at all. Obviously, something's built out inside of it, but they're not like tapping into the electrical system or doing weird things that would cause problems or other operational difficulties with the vehicle. They're just not doing that. So the vehicle is the vehicle and the build-out is the build-out. They're kind of two separate and completely independent things that are going on with the vehicle. Which also means, by the way, that because mine is built out on a Ford, sure, that's fine, but you can also get it on a Mercedes Sprinter or a Ram ProMaster. Oh, there's a tower over there. We'll go in that way and take a look. And I'm sure that they take equal care with those chassis to ensure that everything is cool and they're not disrupting the safety and integrity of the vehicles themselves. So that's awesome. And I like the idea that water is entirely on board. They use kind of an innovative system with marine water bladders rather than fixed dimension plastic tanks. So that is an interesting approach. You get to use the space allotted to one tank for actually 2 tanks. And of course, those being fresh water and gray water. And they're both about 23 gallons, I guess. Oh, look at this. I don't know whether I went the wrong way or not. I got to go around. Okay. It's all accessible, except I don't think that anyone could climb this if they're wheelchair bound. It's a nice dock system out here, though. And I guess this lodge is open, so I guess you could get all of your fishing needs and go fishing if you wanted. And because the water systems are all on board, they don't have to worry about them freezing. One caveat to that, there is an onboard shower, and the shower, because it has to drain out the floor rather than, say, a sink that's up at, normal sink height, that it has to, I'm going up steps, so I'm being careful what I'm doing here. It has to drain into a separate holding tank for the shower. So, and that's a 10-gallon tank that is under the vehicle. So if you are in freezing temperatures, one thing that you need to do is make sure that that is drained, and then you should be okay in freezing temperatures. But your primary gray tank, which gets water out of the galley sink, basically, that's the only other place that generates water that would be used and needed to be disposed of later. That remains on board in the heated space of the vehicle, so you should be good. The heater, an Elwell Timberline system, is good. It sips fuel from the primary fuel tank that the vehicle has, be it Ford, Ram, or Mercedes. And therefore also can come in both gasoline and diesel versions, right? Because a Sprinter, Mercedes Sprinter, is a diesel. The ProMaster and the Ford Transit are both gasoline. And so, yeah, it warms effectively. Sadly, it does lose ground the colder you get. So you have to be careful about where you're at and whether or not the temperature is going to be such that you may need to supplement with, say, an electric space heater or something. As we saw at the last place during the Texas polar vortex extravaganza blowout winter wonderland thing. But solar input from the sun can really help in those situations. It can really be a detriment in the summer, though, when you're trying to cool the van. And that, of course, is the other thing that I'm a little disappointed with, and that is that the Premier AC unit on board is just simply not able to cut it. It may keep me at 85 degrees when the sun is being real nasty and the temperatures outside are being real nasty. So I need to be pretty mindful of that, try to find shade as best I can. And the other thing is it's quite loud. So when I'm in a campground, I feel very self-conscious of running it because you can hear it like 8 camp spots away. And I just feel really horrible having to run it in that environment where people are trying to enjoy nature and whatnot, get outside and maybe beat the heat from inside their vehicle by being outside, and then they have to come out and listen to my thing like 3-4 spaces down. So I don't know. Nevertheless, when I think of some of those things, I'm still delighted that I am out exploring the country in this 2022 era Dolphin SS. What else? I was going to say something else about the systems or the situation, and I'll probably think about it as I'm going along. I'll stop here for a moment just to spin the camera around and let you take a look at the dock down there, but then I'll pan up and we can get a good view of the lake. Lake Livingston, or Livingston Lake, however they like to arrange those words, I guess. Beautiful. I mean, I really do think that this is a really great state park. They're doing things to improve the park. We're up a ways. We're above the roof of that lodge. They have completely redone all of the camping parking pads in concrete, and they're quite level. At least the one I'm in is nice and level. So that's really appreciated. And I'm going to head back down again. These are steep stairs, so I'm going to have to really just keep my eye on the ball here as we go down. The restrooms and bathhouses could definitely use some TLC at this point, or a complete rebuild, whatever. And like I say, the water is doesn't smell good here, so I'm probably adverse to using it. So there's that. And the last park that I was at had wonderful water, so I really lucked out, was able to completely refill all of my water supplies. So I'm good. And yeah, so meanwhile, back to the Embassie Dolphin SS, and knowing what I know now, would I still buy it? And I think that I'd have to say that, again, it is definitely a yes, but that would be a yes given no possible alternative. Because I think that I would definitely prefer to have a 2025 Dolphin SS over my 2022. Embassie has advanced. They've matured. I think that at the time that I found Embassie, it was sort of right on the edge of their suddenly explosive growth and popularity. And they were doing the best with what they had, and like I say, all of their design ethos and their engineering prowess and all that is unquestionable, undeniable. Not a single fault can be found, I don't think, with Embassie at all. And I did think about the one thing that I was going to mention, and that is, if I could have, I might have considered deleting the shower. I thought that a shower was going to be a really important asset to have when you're out just driving around. But to be quite honest, if you're staying in state parks or Army Corps of Engineer campgrounds or whatever, you're probably going to have a shower available to you through the park. And so and if you are not staying at a park, if you have to wally dock for a day or two, or something like that, in all likelihood you can probably find a Planet Fitness that you can go and get a shower at. I do have a Planet Fitness Black membership, which gives me access to any Planet Fitness in the country. And I can just go in there and take a shower if I want. And that's been a really good fallback situation. Some other places that you might not find showers is if you're in a small little city or county park. I don't think all that many cities and counties have parks that you can go camp in, like state parks or Corps of Engineer parks, that kind of thing. And I'm completely skipping over all of the private parks, right? There's just a ton of private RV parks. I tend to avoid them. Number one, they're quite expensive. Number two, they tend to be kind of, what's the word I want to use? Exclusive isn't quite it. Maybe it's a little bit kind of like the elementary school lunchroom or something. It's cliquish, right? It's like that, I guess. And there's been a lot of, goofy stuff going on in parks like that. Like, oh, you can't come here if your RV is more than 10 years old. Just stupid crap like that. But state parks, Army Corps of Engineer parks, some county parks or city parks, if you can find them, that have camping spots available, those are great, and they're plentiful. You might have to travel a bit of a distance between one to the other, depending on the state and whatnot, but they're great. They just really are great. So, did I need that shower then in Joy? Yeah, not necessarily. I really didn't. So, so maybe not. But then let's turn to the notion of, well, would I purchase a Embassie Dolphin SS today? And the answer is, again, a very resounding yes. I don't know who else I would go to. Well, I know that there's a lot of places that I could go to. There's all sorts of manufacturers that make these things. Winnebago, Coachman. There's just several of them. I think I find that most of them are much more expensive than Embassie. What Embassie does is they get you a chassis. You may have to supply the chassis on your own. It just kind of depends on whether or not the local dealer network for Embassie is able to deliver fleet-like order fulfillment. Ford has been real good about that, and so Embassie will order 80 Ford Transits, and they'll get them. So there's that. But assuming, and they actually, I think, would prefer to build on a Ford Transit because I think it gives them probably the best flexibility. I'm not saying that there aren't some advantages to the other chassis, but to a large extent, I think that they feel most comfortable building on the Ford chassis, which is in no way to take away from those other chassis. They build every bit as competently on those other chassis. But I think given a choice, they'd probably say they would like to do it on the Ford chassis. What I know now is, in terms of the ventilation and air conditioning situation, they have new systems on board. And I don't know where I can go at this point. I need to talk to Embassie about it and see whether or not my current Premier AC has any hope of upgrade or replacement, or to the extent that it could be a drop-in kind of replacement and work better and be more quiet. Don't know. My understanding is that they have a new set of fan blades, and apparently that's one of the biggest factors in this whole thing, is that the compressor, which does sit underneath the vehicle, outside underneath the vehicle, those fans just they whine like a jet engine. And so apparently they've got some replacement fan blades which are ever so slightly bigger and maybe pitched a little differently or something, but they're much quieter, apparently by a factor of 4, is what one person said. And I'm like, okay, that would help a lot. Not probably as much as a complete replacement, because although replacing the fan blades may improve their efficiency a little bit, I think it's more of a noise abatement thing over it working any better. So yeah. They have now two things that they really didn't when I was looking to buy. And the reason that they didn't have it then, I think, I don't know, is part of the reason, is that they were trying to maintain a stealth appearance with the Dolphin line. And so they didn't want to put stuff up on the roof. And I know that there are a lot of people who live in a place where they have HOA restrictions on their parking of a vehicle like an RV on the premise. And apparently many have been, denied to have even a Class B RV like a Embassie Dolphin, because I guess it just looks too much like an RV. If you were to bring in one that kind of looked more like just a regular old cargo van, then apparently they're okay with that. I mean, go figure. What is the point? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this because it's just a sense that I have and a feeling that I have, and that is that there's no way in hell you will ever find me purchasing a property that is under the control of an HOA. Just no way. Why do people put up with this crap? But that I think was one of the primary reasons that Embassie was originally saying, well, we want to maintain a stealth appearance. Who cares? Honestly. If you're going to try to maintain a stealth appearance because you don't want somebody in a Walmart parking lot recognizing that you are, that that's an RV and there's probably somebody in it, well, first of all, two things. I don't care how stealth you are. Believe me, law enforcement is going to know that it's an RV, right? They're not dumb. They know. So there's that. The stealth factor is just really not a thing when it comes to people who are, I guess, wise in the ways of what people are doing in parking lots, right? It's just not a thing. So your attempts at being stealthy in a parking lot or on a street it's not a factor. It's nothing that you should, be making a purchase decision for. And I don't know, I was going to say there's some other reason, but I can't really remember what I was going to say about it. But yeah. So right now, Embassie decided that maybe that's not such a big factor, and maybe they shouldn't really necessarily be catering to that. I don't know what swung them one way or the other. Probably my guess would be people like me saying, it's too damn hot in here. How do I get some ventilation? And they had these scuffer vent things, but they were loud and didn't move air particularly well. Eventually, they started putting max air fans on top of the roofs. And so, well, there goes your stealth factor right there, right? If you got a max air fan on top of a vehicle, you might as well basically be saying, hey, this is an RV. What's even more so is that they came up with a new air conditioning system. The model name, I think, is Dreha. I think it's an Italian company, and I don't know if that's the model name or the manufacturer's name. I don't know. But it is a rooftop AC, and oh my gosh, does it do a good job. It would be so wonderful to have one of those. I would definitely appreciate that. Problem is that on the inside, obviously it takes a fairly large hole in the roof to install it in, and then it's going to stick up for, I don't know, a couple 16, 18 inches. I really don't know how much taller it makes the van. But on the inside, I think I recall hearing that it takes up about 4 inches of headroom. Well, okay, age-related shrinkage notwithstanding, back when I joined the Air Force, they clocked me in at 6'3" 3/4 inches. So I don't know. I'm probably a little shorter than that at this point. But that said, I don't have 4 inches of additional clearance between the top of my head and the roof of the van. So if I were to have one of those installed, I'd have to duck. And ducking is not something I'd be real thrilled about having to do. I don't know. But oh my God, does it do a nice job. It can cool down one of those things and do it quick time. Regardless, you're going to need shore power, right? Because any air conditioning system is going to clobber a battery. Now I've got 920 amp hours of lithium battery, 12 volt. And that's a lot. But so I could easily make it through a night with the AC, I'm sure. Especially since it can get you really nice and chill, it probably doesn't need to run as often. And then the later you go into the night, of course, the less it needs to run in order to maintain a temperature. So yeah, throughout a night would probably not be a problem. I have a second alternator on the van that gives me very strong charging current while I'm driving. So within an hour to 2 hours, the batteries can go from, I don't know, 50% up to 100%. And so there's definitely, with driving anyway, a way to top off the batteries and prepare for the next hot day. So there's that. But here we are back at Joy. But I mean, just imagine Joy having, yet another appendage sitting up there. I'll lift up here a little bit and see if you can. I hope that you were able to see the max air fan. I did have them go ahead and put one in for me. And boy, I got to tell you, having a max air fan was just probably the most delightful upgrade to joy that I could have ever hoped for. It lets me exhaust very hot air in there fairly quickly. Just keep a door open or whatever, and then turn that thing on max, and it will suck the hot air right out of there real fast. And overnight, I can do one of two things. I can either have it exhausting, or I can have it actually pushing cooler air in from outside into the cab. So, you know, suck it out or push it in, one way or the other, it's going to feel good. Way better than not having it at all. And when you're in a situation where you really would rather not be running the Premier AC, like in a Walmart parking lot overnight, boy, talk about draw attention to yourself. That would definitely do it. So, yeah, I would not really want to have to do that. I need shore power when it gets real hot in order to be comfortable and not to annoy people around me. So, I'm just going to sit down here on the picnic table while I finish up. So, yeah. Would I buy Joy again? Knowing what I know now, yes. Maybe the only real downside to it is that this is what many have referred to as a pandemic era build of this Ford Transit, which has definitely meant that there have been some rather screwy things with the build. I don't know what to say. And as it is a cargo van, I don't think that Ford really puts the effort into providing luxury and, you know, high quality and that kind of thing. It's meant to be a fleet vehicle, and you know, it's probably going to be beaten up within a relatively short period of time, expensed through depreciation on somebody's accounting records, and then you know, discarded, sold off, whatever, and then they just buy another fleet of these things and do it all over again. So yeah, I don't know that Sprinters or ProMasters are any better in that regard. I don't know. The Sprinters look very nice. They're very well appointed. But many people look at a Transit and say that's very well appointed. And I don't have any quality qualms when it comes to the aesthetics of the bridge, right? When you're being the captain of the starship, the bridge is pretty okay. I definitely like the Sync 4 infotainment center, and my ability to use Android Auto with it. I'd like to kick Google and a few places for how stupidly Android Auto can behave, but that's a whole nother story. But I think I definitely would buy a 2025 Dolphin SS, and if I had two of them sitting side by side, I'd probably go for the 2025. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Embassie hasn't built the earlier models with upgradability in mind. So I do think that, like, if I wanted to put in that Dreha AC and give up 4 inches of headroom at the point where that thing sticks through the roof, I could do that. There's nothing that says that I couldn't do that. And maybe they will have something better than the Premier that will be a drop-in replacement in exactly the same position that my current Premier is. So maybe I don't have to cut that hole in the roof and lose 4 inches of headroom. I don't know. I need to talk to Embassie a little bit more about it. But definitely thinking about another summertime out in the heat is not something that's, you know, really all that fun to think about. When you're driving, the AC in the cab keeps you nice and cool. Everything's great. And by the way, one of the things that I can do in order to augment air conditioning in the cabin is to fire up the engine, turn the cab's AC on high, and just make sure that the ducts or the vents are aimed to the rear, and set them wide open and let them rip. And that actually can bring down the temperature in the coach quite a bit. Oh, there's a fly out here. Oh my gosh, go away. Get off of me. So, yeah, that's kind of the story. I definitely would buy one again. And primarily, it all boils down to the engineering ethos, their integrity with how they're dealing with the systems, their how they build them, the quality with which they build them, having everything being marine plastic and marine vinyl, padded marine vinyl and whatnot. It's very easy to clean, very easy to maintain, and there's not going to be lingering smells in there, right? Because there's no wood or whatever to soak up and retain moisture and scent and that sort of thing. So, I could walk away from Joy and come back, and I don't even know what happened in there last. I would imagine with some manufacturers, Class B RVs, you could, cook a, pot of spaghetti or something in it a couple days ago, and then go out on a hike 2 days later and come back and go, when did we have spaghetti? A couple days ago, and it retained that odor all that time. I don't know, maybe it's not that bad. You'd have to tell me. If you have a Class B that is made of wood, then you would know. But I think a lot of people with build-outs that relied very heavily on wood framing and all that are not all that happy with the fact that water has seriously become their enemy. Okay. Hopefully that answers the question enough, and I'm probably going to have to cut this down a little bit because it seems like it's running all the way up to 50 minutes, so I'll probably cut some of the stupid parts out. But hope you enjoyed the little walk today here at Lake Livingston State Park, and with any luck, I won't be able to post this while I'm here because I got no internet to do that with. I don't even know if I'm going to next week, but you'll see this soon enough, and I hope you enjoy it when you do. Hope you're having a great rest of your winter. Hope that it's pleasant wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next video.